Hey everybody, it's Josh Alexander from The Brokerage and your host of Orange County Housing Market News. Interest rates have been on the rise since the beginning of the year. So how does that impact home affordability? That's exactly what we're going to be discussing on today's episode. So if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. If you've never listened to this show before, this show is all about Orange County real estate. So I go over local market trends, I interview other experts in the field, and then I go over different tricks, tips, and advice for both buyers and sellers to help you out in today's market. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, this is a great place to start, so make sure you don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and that bell button below if you're watching this on YouTube. That way you're notified every week when I do release a new episode. So let's go ahead and get into today's episode. If you've been watching the news or reading articles about real estate since the beginning of the year, odds are that you've probably seen it over and over again at this point that interest rates have been going up pretty significantly since the start of 2022. So if you look at December of last year, where interest rates were hovering just below 3.1%, in today's market, a 30-year fixed mortgage rate is all the way up to almost 3.6% right now. So it's jumped by a half a percentage point just in the last 4 to 5 weeks alone, which is a pretty significant increase in a very short amount of time. So it has a lot of people wondering at this point, how did that interest rate rise impact me as a home buyer and what I could have purchased in December compared to what I can purchase now? So let's go ahead and take a look. So the easiest and the quick and dirtiest way to really kind of get a rough idea of how the rising interest rates impact what type of home you can afford is by using the 110 rule. So the 110 rule basically states that for every 1% interest rates go up, you're going to be able to afford a home that's going to be 10% less if you want to keep your mortgage payment about the same. So if you were trying to buy a home that was $800,000 and interest rates went up by 1%, now you're probably looking at homes closer to $720,000 instead. So let's go ahead and take that rule and apply it to what's happened over the last couple of weeks in real estate. So again, if you were trying to purchase a home, let's say in December of last year for $800,000, now because interest rates went up a half a percent, in order to keep the mortgage payment very similar, you're now looking at homes closer to $760,000. So a $40,000 difference, which is a pretty significant decrease in the amount of home you can afford. Now let's go ahead just for the fun of it and look at, okay, well, the mortgage payment doesn't matter as much to me. What if I were to buy an $800,000 home today versus an $800,000 home in December? What would the difference be in the payment? So if you're looking at that difference between a 3.1% interest rate and a 3.6% interest rate, each month you're going to be looking at spending about $177 more for the same price home in just a month time frame. Now if you take that number and expand it to how much more you pay per year, that's going to be over $2,100 more for your mortgage. And then when you take that and go for the full 30 years, that's over $63,000 more that you're paying for the same mortgage on the same price home because interest rates jumped up by a half a percentage point. So when you look at that 30 years over the life of the loan, you definitely are paying significantly more to be able to get into a house when interest rates are at 3.6 versus 3.1. However, there's two things you want to remember. Number one, the most important number that buyers should always be looking at is that monthly payment. So yes, if interest rates go up, that monthly payment does go up for the same priced home. However, if that monthly payment is still financially doable for you, it's not going to strain your finances, and it makes financial sense for you to move forward, then that's the number you want to look at because that's what you're locking in. You're locking in that payment so you don't have to worry about your rent increasing every single year. You're locking in that monthly payment. You have predictability in your finances now, and you're able to get in the home. And number two, even at 3.6%, that's still some of the lowest interest rates we've ever seen for homes. So yes, it might seem high right now because we've been used to 3% or below 3% for the last 18 months or so. However, 3.6% is extremely low when you look at any time in the last 50 years. So if you're able to lock that rate in at 3.6%, the monthly payments look good to you, it's still a great time to buy a home right now because you'll be able to lock in that low rate and be able to have that monthly stability that you don't get when you're renting a house. And finally, the last factor that you want to also take into consideration when you see these interest rates going up and deciding if you want to purchase purchase or not is that you have to also remember that we are in an extremely hot seller's market right now. So since December, we have seen homes appreciate. Although the numbers haven't come out for January yet because it's not over, when those numbers do come in, I do expect to see some decent appreciation. Just from seeing it in the market every day, where you really can't even be competitive unless you're placing an offer that's $40,000, $50,000 above asking price, I know that appreciation is happening in this market, and it's still happening at a very rapid pace because there's just not enough homes on the market. Right now in Orange County, we're just hovering over 1,000 homes right now. Typically during this time of year, we have almost 4,000 homes on the market. So inventory is extremely tight still. So even though it might seem like interest rates are going up, it's hard to buy a home, you're gonna get out of the market and wait a while. If you're still thinking of buying a home anytime in the near future, let's say the summer of this year, the longer you wait at this point, the more homes are going to appreciate, and it's still predicted that interest rates are going to continue to climb as we head through the back half of the year. So you're going to get hit with a double whammy if you continue to wait, because the longer you wait, the more home prices are going up, and most likely you're going to see those interest rates either stay where they are right now or go even higher. So waiting at this point is definitely not a strategy that I recommend. Yes, it's going to be tough. Yes, you're going to have to place a lot of offers to get in a home most likely right now because the competition is so fierce. However, if you're thinking of waiting a couple extra months, it's just going to make things worse. So if you're able to get in the market now financially, it's a good time to do so. Talk to that lender, get that pre-approval, talk to your trusted real estate agent, have them guide you, let them set the expectations so you know what to expect as a buyer in this market. That way, when you enter the market and see the frenzy that's happening, it's not going to be overwhelming because you've already been informed and you know to expect it. Now, if you already own a home right now, but you were thinking about maybe upgrading this year or downgrading to something smaller depending on your situation, and you're saying to yourself, appreciation's happening, I don't want to sell yet, we're not at the top of the market, I'm going to wait a little bit longer. You have to understand that as your house appreciates, so does everybody else's. So really, you're not saving any money by waiting. The biggest thing that's going to be a factor for you is what interest rates are now versus what they might be in the next couple months. So if you're thinking about selling your house, right now demand is off the charts. It's the craziest I've seen it since the pandemic began. So if you're thinking about selling a home right now, it is a great time to get it on the market, because on the other side, when you go to purchase a home, you're going to be able to take advantage of these rates while they're still relatively low before they go up any farther. So that is something to think about as well when you're trying to figure out when you want to place your home on the market. So if you are thinking of buying or selling a home this year and you want to stay updated on what's happening in this crazy market right now, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, the like button, as well as share with any friends or family that might be thinking of doing the same thing this year. That way they can be informed as well on what's happening in the housing market now. I release a new episode every week. I go over different tips for both buyers and sellers, and I give you updates on what's happening in the market. So when you do decide to get into the market, you'll know exactly what to expect, and you'll be able to be one step ahead of everybody else. So that's all I have for you today. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and I'll see you next week. Bye.